Right, there we go, live on YouTube, and a very good evening to you. Thank you to the premium members of Expats Portugal over here on the Zoom call tonight. Please pop your questions in the chat, and it's a great pleasure to welcome back to the Thursday night webinar Filomena Pascual from Miranda de Corvo in central Portugal with another, as a round of applause, thank you, Peter, for that, for Portuguese language and culture session. This time it's all about the healthcare, isn't it? Everything from the doctor to the pharmacy and the hospital.
Healthcare, yeah.
Really, really useful, basically important stuff that vocabulary and insight that you'll need to know. So thank you very much. Olá, boa noite, tudo bem?
Olá, boa noite. Tudo bem, obrigada.
Feel free, everybody, to converse with us in the chat in Portuguese, because I think this is maybe the fourth or fifth session you've done with us, and we've done the basics, so why not try those out in the chat?
Does anyone want to say hello?
We're waiting for an Olá, boa noite. There we go. We've got an Olá, boa tarde from Wales, from Peda. Warm and sunny, beautiful day in the País de Gales. There you go. That's Wales. That's Portuguese for Wales. Great name, isn't it? In
País de Gales. Exatamente, exatamente.
The country of the Gauls, I think, literally. That's
País de Gales.
And well done, George, as well. Boa noite from you. So keep that coming. I think Filomena has a presentation to share on the screen.
I do. So, okay, so let me start.
And we can't answer any questions about medical ailments tonight. Filomena is a language teacher and not a doctor.
Yes, I'm a language teacher. I'm not the doctor. So unfortunately, I can't answer any
diagnoses
questions. No patience, please. Okay. So we are speaking tonight about healthcare in Portugal. So, cuidados de saúde em Portugal. Cuidados de saúde em Portugal. And in Portugal, I think we can speak about three main different systems. The Serviço Nacional de Saúde, the National Healthcare, the National Health Service, so the SNS in Portuguese, Serviço Nacional de Saúde. We have other systems, other health systems that I will speak about them later. So for certain jobs like teachers for the public schools or for the police force, or, you know, the GNR, PSP, the jobs that are related to the state mainly, but also bank clerks, but I will speak about it later, just for you to know. And then, of course, we have the private clinics and the private hospitals. And of course, the insurances also, the private insurances that work with these private hospitals as well. Okay, so let's move on to the first one, the Serviço Nacional de Saúde. This was created in 1979 because, as you probably know, we started to be a democracy in 1974, 25th of April. And so then after that, being a democracy, and so we didn't have the dictator anymore because we had the dictator for a long time. And then we started to have, you know, ministers, prime minister, and the ministers and the parliament and things like that. So António Arnaud, Ministro dos Assuntos Sociais, so social affairs minister, actually, Carl, he was born near Miranda do Corvo. He was born in Penela. Okay.
Very good.
So he was born in Penela, and he was the minister, and he created. He is responsible for the National Health Service. So, being national, it is national because it's all over the country. On the islands, because they are autonomous, also in the National Health Service, it's a bit different, but it's also the National Health Service, so it's all over the country. It's universal because it's for everyone that needs healthcare. So It doesn't matter if it's a Portuguese, if it's a foreigner, if nothing matters in that sense. It's a general service because it promotes health campaigns, let's say, and it's also for diagnosis, for treatment, for surgeries, everything. And a good thing is free of charge, right? Free of charge. There are 5 regions of the National Health Service called ARS, Administração Regional de Saúde, so Regional Administration of Health, Administração Regional de Saúde. So divides the country into 5 regions: Norte, Centro, Lisboa e Val do Tejo, Alentejo, and of course Algarve. So the north, the center, Lisbon, and around Lisbon on Tagus Valley, and Alentejo, that is a little bit above Algarve, right between Lisbon and Algarve. So this is just for you to know what happens. So then the subsistemas de saúde, the subsystems of health, as I said, there are the public ones, públicos, for the most, the most common is the ADSE for the public services, and there are also for the military, militares das Forças Armadas, the PSP, the police in the cities, or the GNR, the police force in the towns and villages, etc. So these are systems that we, in our wages, we discount a part of the wages for this system. And then, of course, we can go to, for example, to some private hospitals and pay a lot less and things like that. So it's an agreement between the state and the private clinics. Then there are also some private systems of health. So like the bank clerks, as I said, so working in the bank entitles you to have another system. Portugal Telecom, for example, and others. So this, as I said, is just informative, right? So it's for you to know. Then clínicas e hospitais privados, so the private clinics and the private hospitals. Of course, you can go there if you have a private health insurance. In Portugal, it's not compulsory, so you can have it or you cannot have it, so it's not compulsory. But if you have a private health insurance, then you have some, let's say, agreements with a few hospitals that you can use, and you pay a lot less than without the insurance. So, for example, and please, I mean, I'm not in favor of any insurance in particular, but these are some examples: multi-care, advanced care, Medicare, etc. Then convenções com o Estado, conventions with the state. As I said, we also, for example, I'm going to give an example of my town, Miranda do Corvo. We have a private hospital here, and so if I need to do, for example, an electrocardiogram, I go first to my local health center, to the National Health Service, my local health center. I go to my family doctor, or she, in my case, it's a woman, she thinks that I need an electrocardiogram, and she prescribes that. And with that prescription, with that paper, or on the mobile phone with the app, I can go to the private clinic or the private hospital, and I don't pay anything because I have started with the National Health Service. So if you start with your family doctor, then you can take the papers usually, and there is this agreement, and so the state pays for you to do the exams for free. So this was just an example of my hometown. And the private hospitals, as I said, you can either go to a private hospital, and sometimes I go to a private hospital in Coimbra, for example, because I decide that I don't want to wait for a long time. Sometimes for a doctor appointment in the local health centers, it takes a long time before you have an appointment, especially if it's not very urgent, of course, if it's not urgent. And so sometimes instead of waiting for 2 weeks or so to be seen by a doctor, I prefer to go to a private hospital. In that case, I just go or I book on the phone, for example, or online, and I go and I get the appointment. I pay 100%. It's not too much compared to the US. It's not too much. So I just pay the bill 100% and that's it. So it's a choice that you also have. You can use the private hospitals and pay 100%, or you can have the health insurance and then you have discounts. So, for example, you have Luz Saúde, Hospital de Luz, you have CUF, you have the group of Lusíadas Saúde. So there are several groups of private hospitals. And as I said, for example, here, even in a small town, like my town, Miranda do Corvo, we also have a private hospital. So that's common to find in big cities and in towns. You also have private small clinics that you can go to. So speaking of Serviço Nacional de Saúde, the first thing is the first thing you have to do as a resident in Portugal is to register in your local health center, which is Centro de Saúde. So every town has a Centro de Saúde, and sometimes even if the town is a bigger town, within the town there are different areas with different health centers. So first you have to find out which is the one nearest to you. So you should go to the nearest health center, and then later I will also show, for example, some instructions that the British Embassy, for example, issued maybe a couple of years ago. But so the first thing is you go to the health center. Then usually you have a hospital or more than a hospital near you. But if you are using the National Health Service, you should first go to the health center, and then your doctor, if your doctor thinks that you better go to the hospital for a specialty or something, then he or she writes or contacts the hospital, and you go with that prescription. And it's better that you do first the health center. In case you need in an emergency, or if you are feeling poorly and you don't know what to do, there is a phone that you can call 24 hours, the SNS 24. So the phone is, as you have it on the screen, 808 and then 24 24 24. Or you can also use the internet and on www.sns24.gov.pt. You can also seek some advice. So a doctor will answer you, and they, according to the symptoms, you can tell them what is happening to you, and they can guide you. Either they lead you to the nearest hospital, and then if you call first, you have priority. So because you have called first, and so when you get to the hospital, they know already that you are going, and you have some priority over the others that are waiting there. So it's also a good option. Or sometimes they just advise you what to do. So buy this medicine, or take this or take that, and have a rest, or whatever it is. They can advise you what is the best in your case. There is also the app, okay, the SNS24, and for that you need to have what we call utente number, so the user, the National Health Service user number, and so then I will speak, because it's a lot of things, so I divided this into as much as I could, and later I will explain how you can get a utente number. And of course, for an emergency, you call not the 991, it's not 991, but it's 112, okay? So the INEM, Instituto Nacional de Emergência Médica, and so if you call the 112, of course, you can say what emergency is happening, and they are going to send you an ambulance and a doctor. Sometimes it depends on the seriousness, if it's serious or not. They will send you an ambulance at least, and sometimes a doctor. So shall I go on?
I wonder could you say something about the connection between the Bombeiros paramedic
Yes.
and 112?
Bombeiros, yes, because, for example, if you call the 112, sometimes in the system, the nearest ambulance to take you to the nearest hospital is from the local fireman, right? So you can be taken by the local bombeiros. You can also ask directly the bombeiros to take you. So instead of calling 112, you can contact your local fireman department. In that case, then you pay the service for the fireman. You know, you pay the ambulance. It's not much, but you pay because it's not within this National Health Service. You see what I mean? Because it's the fireman.
And it's a
It
great
is a great
service.
service. It is a great service. But I mean, I'm just saying that if you call the 112, is in the national, the Health National Service, and if it's not, if it's the fireman, it's you know, like an institution, and then you pay to the fireman. But it's not much. You don't pay
It's not, I
much.
mean, it wouldn't be anything like a taxi, would it? I mean, if
No.
you're
It's
an
it's a lot better, and especially because with the firemen, you also have priority in the hospital. If you go with an ambulance, of course they get you in as soon as they get there. They just get you in, and
not for your checkups. This
no, it's not
it's
for
an
your
emergency.
checkup. No, don't do that, because it's not going to be well received.
Yes. On that note as well, a very important question. Do the emergency services, 112 paramedics and ER emergency room staff speak English? Is the
Oh,
question.
yes, of course. Yes, they do. They do. Okay?
Thanks,
So,
Filomena.
Centro de Saúde. And I said that you should have número de utente. Okay, so the British Embassy, I know lots of you are Americans, but the British Embassy has issued this a couple of years ago. So I think I could use this because I have it on paper, but I think it's good because you have the English and the Portuguese at the same time. So as a resident in Portugal, you have the right to access state healthcare on the same basis as Portuguese citizens, as any citizen of the world. So what should you do? You bring your passport and your residence permit. So traga o seu passaporte e documento de direito de residência. Nowadays you have a card, right? The British, at least now, they have a card with because before, if you for example, if you were a European Union citizen, you just needed to go to the local Junta de Freguesia and the local town hall. The mayor would stamp your permit and sign, and that was it. You didn't need any CEF or IMER or anything. But of course now, and if you are out of the European Union, of course you need to have your residence permit with the card. Then here it says you don't need a social security number. I'm not sure if this has changed, but even if you do need a social security number, it's very easy. You can also ask for it online. And so this is something that is not very, very hard to do. Then if you have a UK, in this case, a UK state pension, ask the NHS Overseas Healthcare Team for an S1 form and register it at the Social Security District Center in Portugal, right? So you have it in Portuguese. Se recebe uma reforma do governo britânico, peça ao NHS Overseas Healthcare Team formulário S1 e registre-o no Centro Distrital de Segurança Social em Portugal. Apresente uma cópia do formulário S1 no centro de saúde no qual se está a inscrever. So then you would present that copy. And não se registre ou tente utilizar os serviços de saúde com o seu cartão europeu de saúde de doença, se é residente em Portugal. So, especially if you are an European citizen, because I think this is not just for Americans. So if you are an European citizen, you will have the blue card. It's usually a blue card that is valid for every country in the European Union, within the European Union. But this is when you are a tourist. So, for example, if I go to France and I take this blue card with me, and if I need to use the health care in France, I use this card, but as a tourist, not as a resident. So sometimes people think that they came from the Netherlands and they have this blue card and they think they with that blue card they can go to the health center. No, because if you are a resident, you have to register as a resident, and you are not a tourist, okay? So what can you say? You can say, for example, queria pedir o número de utente, por favor. So I would like to ask the health system user, please. Okay? So this is a sentence that you could at least start with that. Queria pedir o número de utente, por favor. Very important is, of course, you can't expect everyone to speak English, right? If you are in Portugal, you can't expect everyone to speak English. Some people do speak English, some people don't. But even if you don't speak Portuguese, well, my advice is start with a smile, okay? If you start with a smile, and if you say, for example, estou a aprender português, I'm still learning Portuguese, things like that people appreciate. You know, if you say bom dia, boa tarde, good morning, good afternoon. So try to be as nice as possible, and you will see that immediately they are going to try to help you, even if they don't speak English. But, you know, a smile opens a lot of doors.
Even on the phone, may I add?
And even on the phone, because
yes.
even on the
true,
phone,
though. It's true. It's true.
You can see if a person is smiling or not, right? You can notice. Yep. So my advice is, even if you don't speak Portuguese, try to learn a few basic sentences like this. Queria pedir o número de utente, por favor. I would like to ask my user's number, please. And it's already a start, okay?
Well said.
Then,
on that note, Filomena, we had a great question from Greg, which Laronda has answered. Very good, Laronda. You've been listening in previous sessions for sure. But is the NIF is the social security number the same as the NIF? So there are three important numbers, aren't there?
Two different things. The NIF is número de identificação fiscal. So it's your fiscal number to do with finances. So just a finance number, right? So it's to do with the your accountancy. But the Social Security is something that, for example, if you are working, for example, I pay Social Security every month because I have an income. And because I have an income, I pay the Social Security every month, and that Social Security is paying for, you know, everything that every citizen needs, right? So it doesn't mean that if you have a number, you are going to pay. It doesn't mean that you have to pay. But if you have a number, it means that you are registered as a resident in Portugal. Okay,
Yes.
so it's important. For example, even those Portuguese lessons that the Portuguese state provides for free, right? Because if you are a foreigner, you can attend Portuguese lessons for free. I shouldn't be saying this, should I?
No, forget that. Forget that. You
No, but I'm just kidding. But if you want to attend the Portuguese lessons for free that the state provides, you have to be registered with a NIF number, so a fiscal number, and you need a social security number as well. Okay. So, but it doesn't mean that people think, oh, but I'm not paying social security. Well, don't worry. Having a number doesn't mean that you will pay anything. Okay.
Right. And
But
Greg,
you just need the number.
I think for Greg, maybe there might be a confusion with the utent, the number.
Utent is something else.
Right.
Utent is just for help.
There are
Okay.
three. There are three. There's the health number, isn't there? Which is
Yeah,
which is the
utent
SNN.
is just the health number, right? And for example, in the Portuguese, like me, we have a citizen card, right? We don't have a permit, we don't have a residence permit, but we have a citizen card and a cartão de cidadão. And in our citizen card, we have the three numbers. We have the social security number, we have the fiscal number, and the healthcare number. So all these numbers are three separate, different numbers, okay? And
Yeah.
utent is just for healthcare.
Yes.
Okay.
So there you go. Those are the three important numbers and
Yes.
a description of what they are there. So there you go, Greg. I hope that helps.
Okay, so speaking about going to the health center, when you go, because I said the first step is going to the local health center, right? When you go to the local health center, I think in every health center, but I can't speak for the whole country, but I think everywhere you have a machine to take a ticket for your turn, okay? So here is my local screen, the local screen in my health center. So, for example, here you have confirmação, consultas, atos de saúde. So, if you are confirming a doctor appointment or some other treatments, for example, you had cut your finger and you need a new bandage or something. Then marcação, consultas, tratamentos, vacinas. If you are setting an appointment, you want an appointment for a doctor appointment or treatment or a vaccine. Pedido nova inscrição. This is what you have to click. This or something similar, because as I said, I mean, the machines might be different, but something like this. Pedido nova inscrição is the request for a new register. So this is what you have to click when you go to ask for your utent number, the request for a new registration, okay? Then receituário is for prescriptions, if you want just another prescription of some medicine that your doctor already knows that you are taking, and other affairs, other subjects, outros assuntos. And declaração de presença, declaração de presença is just if you are working and if you need to prove to your boss or to your entity that you have been to the doctor, then you have a declaration that you were present in that health center. Okay.
Yep.
Then this picture that I took also is when you take the ticket. Senha, by the way, senha, because for ticket we have different words. The bilhete is a ticket, but bilhete is when you buy a ticket to go to the movies or to go to a concert, or you buy a ticket to go to attend something. Here is senha because it's your turn. It's just your turn. You are not buying that ticket, right? So you are taking a ticket to know what your turn is. So it's just called senha. And you go to the waiting room later I'm going to tell you what is the name, sala de espera, waiting room. So you go to the waiting room and you can have a screen like this one. And in this screen, you have, you see the C and the E and the B and the D that you have pressed before, right? So you have pressed before. And then at the top, it says that, for example, the last person to be called was the ticket B, number 20, and balcão is the counter, number 4. And we are going to see numbers as well, okay? Maybe 1 hour is not enough today because we are going to see numbers as well. So when you see, they have a loudspeaker, and so you can hear that. And for example, if you are waiting to be seen by a doctor, then the M, for example, there says it's medical care, and 29 was the ticket, and gabinete, so the doctor's office, gabinete 3. So you would have to go and find the door with number 3, the doctor's office. But of course, if you don't know, of course, at first you don't know, and you ask for someone, for help to someone will help you for sure. And people in Portugal, people are usually nice, aren't we?
Absolutely. And you can practice at the local
And you can
pasteleria,
practice.
at the
Okay.
supermarket. You can wait for a ticket at the supermarket, at the batalio or the pasteleria, and you can get used to waiting for your number.
Yes,
It's all good practice.
yes, and that is a good advice. Used to be waiting, okay? Because you have to get used to be waiting, okay?
Yes.
So, tirar uma senha. Tirar uma senha means to take a ticket for your turn, okay? Tirar uma senha. So, for example, if you some local health centers have a security. Well, it's not because of security reasons, but they have a segurança, what we call segurança, a security boy that is there also to help. So if you want to say, I would like to take a ticket and I don't know how, it's tirar uma senha. Queria tirar uma senha.
Often, sorry to interrupt, Filomena, but
No,
often those people are very helpful as well.
They are, yeah.
Best not to just assume that they're there in a security role. They're often very helpful and act like a receptionist, and quite often, if you explain.
Yes, they work as a receptionist as well. It's not because it's dangerous to go to the health center. No, it's not dangerous, but it's they are there to as a backup. You can always ask for help. So marcar uma consulta is to set an appointment, a doctor appointment. Marcar uma consulta. Consulta is just used in the sense of a doctor appointment. If you have an appointment at the hairdresser, is not consulta, okay? So consulta is just in medical term. Marcar tratamento, for example, if you need a treatment, you have burnt yourself and you went to the doctor last week and now you have to have a treatment to the wound or something, that is marcar tratamento. Pedir uma receita is to ask for a prescription, pedir uma receita, and then sometimes you can go back once you have your family doctor, and if you have a regular medication, you can ask for another prescription, and then you can come back and just pick it up, right? Pick up the prescription, not the medicine, but levantar uma receita is to collect the prescription. Nowadays, lots of times we don't use a prescription on paper anymore, and we just get a text on the mobile phone, of course, with the Portuguese number, not a foreign number. But if you have a Portuguese number, they'll send you a text, and with that text, you just show that to the pharmacist, and they go to the system, and within the system, they know immediately what you are supposed to buy. Okay, so you don't have to worry too much with taking a paper, but if you really prefer a paper, you can go back and collect the paper. Okay.
Very good.
So now I said that you have to understand the numbers, right? And because I think it was last month, I think, that at the end, people suggested they would like to learn the numbers in Portuguese. So I thought, okay, here is a good opportunity. You have to understand if they call you to cabinet number 3 or the office number 4. So I'm just going very quickly through the numbers. May I?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is really useful stuff.
Okay, números, numbers. And this is a nasal sound. You can cover your nose. Okay, you don't pronounce the M. Dois, três, the S at the end, shh, right? Dois, três, quatro, cinco, the O at the end, always U, the sound as a double O in English, U. Quatro, cinco, seis, sete, oito, nove, 10, the Z at the end, the same as the S at the end, the same sound, sh, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so far?
Very good. And I hope people were doing that at home. I was. I muted up.
Then it's very simple. You keep adding and inserting the E in the middle. Of course, when people speak, you might not listen to this E in the middle, but it's 21 or quicker, 21. 21, okay? 22, 23, and so on and so on. So you just keep adding. Then 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. The word 100, which is another nasal, the M at the end is always nasal, 100. This word 100 is just used for 100 and nothing else but 100. If it's 100 and something, the word changes into cento. So even 101, it becomes 101, 102, 103, etc. Then you can have 165. So you say 165. Okay? Then 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. If you say 1000 is 1000, you don't have to say 1000. It's just 1000. Then you can say 2000, 3000 for 2000, 3000, etc. Now, if you say 1001, you say 1001 and so on, right? Then, for example, you say 1049, 1100. And if you have like this 1180, so you don't have either the ending in double O, let's say 00, then you don't put the E between 1000 and 100. But this is just a detail, don't worry too much about that. But it's 1180, so 1180. And so we don't say 1180, but just a small detail, just for you to know. And so, for example, when you speak about the years, your birth year or something, it has to be with 1900. You can't split it in 1950. No, you can't say like that. You have to say 1950, for example.
But nobody ever says 1950.
No, in Portuguese we don't say 1950. If
Okay.
you say 1950, people will stare at you and what? What are you saying?
Wrong
No,
with you?
it's 1950.
All
You
right.
have to say the whole number. And this is it about the numbers, okay?
Very good. Very helpful. And you will need them in that sort of situation. For example, as you
Yes,
said.
at least I'm not saying that you will need the number 1049, but at least the first 10 numbers is good to learn, or the first 20, because you have to know if you are supposed to go to door number 3 or door number 5, or
And date of birth, though. I mean, you made that point, didn't you? Date of birth is worth remembering, and
yes,
that's education,
yes, yes,
isn't it? Learn your date of
and
telephone
also,
number.
for example, when you listen to, for example, to 3 and 13, 3 and 13, you have to be sure which one was it, right? So 3, that's why I said the 3 with an S at the end. The last sound is sh. So 3. But 13, it has a Z. So the Z sound is 13, 13. So you have to distinguish if it's 3 or 13. Although I know that when people speak, it's hard to distinguish when is one or the other. But imagine that the loudspeaker says B40, so your ticket was B40, and balcão 3. So you have to go to the counter number 3, right, to be seen.
Yes.
Okay, so some vocabulary. let's do some vocabulary. So consulta, as I said, it refers always to a doctor's appointment. Then tratamento, treatment. Balcão is the counter. Then gabinete or sala is a nurse's or a doctor's office. You can have the gabinete 3, for example, sala 3, so it's the number of the door you have to go to. Receituário or receita is the prescription. So if you have to choose in the machine, if you have to choose something, it must be with receituário or receita. Sala de espera, and as you can see, sala de espera, you have both E's that are just one now. Sala de espera, the waiting room. So for example, at the counter they can say, okay, now you go to sala de espera. Vá para a sala de espera, por favor. So if you listen to sala de espera, okay, waiting room, I have to go to the waiting room. Médico, if he's a man, or médica with an A at the end instead of the O, is a doctor. Enfermeiro, or again, enfermeira, if it's a woman, nurse. Funcionário or recepcionista, sometimes it's the segurança also, the employee, the receptionist. Sintomas, symptoms. Febre for temperature. Tosse for cough. Constipação, and this is a tricky word, but it's just a cold, okay? Constipação, if you are,
Worth knowing.
if you have a
Otherwise,
cold.
you get the wrong treatment.
Constipação.
Make sure you get that right.
Then, dor de cabeça, a headache. Garganta inflamada, a sore throat. Gripe, flu. Dor nas costas, backache. Dor de barriga, stomachache. Coração, heart. Peito, chest. Braço, arm. Perna, leg. Mão, hand. Dedo, finger. Dedo do pé, toe.
Love that.
Pressão arterial, blood pressure. Okay, so these are some vocabulary that I thought that might be useful, because I thought of every possible scenario with something that you could go to the local health center. Okay, then ao balcão. If you go to the counter, you are called to go to the counter. So some vocabulary you could say: queria marcar uma consulta. I would like to set an appointment. Preciso de pedir check-up geral, for example. I need to ask for a general check-up, so with a blood test and everything. So, preciso de pedir check-up geral, for example. Tenho uma consulta marcada. This is, I have an appointment already booked. And again, this is maybe it can be different according to the part of the country, but here in my local health center, in this machine where we have to press the button for the screen for the correct ticket, we can also use our citizen card. We can insert the citizen card if we have a booking already. We just insert the citizen card and we don't need to go anywhere else because the system recognizes that you are there and then the doctor calls you to go to the office. For a foreigner, I'm not sure if because I think your residence permit also has a chip, right? It also has a little chip, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
Mine, the one I've got doesn't, as far as I'm
No?
aware. But
Yeah,
I think
but
the ones
maybe
for,
you need to go to the counter and tell them that you have an appointment. So,
yes.
tenho uma consulta marcada. Preciso de uma receita deste medicamento. Preciso de uma receita deste medicamento. I need a prescription for this medicine. For this, medicine. Venho levantar a receita que pedi ao médico de família. So in that case, when I said, if you are not very comfortable with the mobile text, or if you don't have a Portuguese number and you have to go back to collect the prescription, you can say, venho levantar, I come to collect a receita, the prescription, que pedi, that I have asked, ao médico, if it's a man, or à médica, if it's a woman, de família, so my family doctor, that I have asked to my family doctor. Because once you register, you are being given a family doctor, ok? Médico de família. Venho entregar os exames ao meu médico, or à minha médica, so I come to hand in the exams to my doctor. So again, if it's a male doctor, ao meu médico. If it's a female doctor, à minha médica. Sometimes the doctor tells you, okay, you need to do an ECG, you need to do, blood tests, and then if you want, you can pick them up and go to the health center and give them in for the doctor to see. So if you can also do that. Okay, so then no consultório. Consultório is the doctor's office. That's why consulta is just for the doctor. So you can say, well, I have thought of a few situations. So sinto-me mal. So I don't feel well. I feel poorly. Sinto-me mal. Estou constipado. I've got a cold, okay? Estou constipado. Tenho tosse. I have cough. Or estou com tosse. It's the same. You can have one structure or the other. I have cough, or I am with cough. Tenho tosse, ou estou com tosse. Tenho febre, ou estou com febre. I've got a temperature. So this is literally, I have temperature, or I am with temperature. Tenho febre, estou com febre. Tenho dor de cabeça, or dores de cabeça. You can say one way or the other, in the singular or the plural. I have a headache. Tenho dor de cabeça, or tenho dores de cabeça. Then you can say, using the verb dói-me, literally it hurts me. So dói-me a garganta, my throat is aching, is hurting me. So if you have something that is just one in the singular, you use the verb dói-me. So you can say, dói-me a garganta, my throat is aching. Dói-me a mão, my hand is aching. Dói-me o dedo, my finger is aching. But if it's plural, like your legs, both legs are hurting, then you say dói-me in the plural. Dói-me as pernas, so my legs are hurting. Dói-me as costas, because the back in Portuguese, your back is costas, it's a plural word. Dói-me as mãos, both hands, etc. So, dói-me in one thing, dói-me more than one. Then you could say cortei dedo, I have cut a finger, or queimei dedo, I have burnt a finger. Parti braço, more serious, I have broken an arm, right? So a few situations that you could say. Then at the pharmacy. So after the doctor, you go to the pharmacy. And so you could say, you could use the vocabulary. Receita for prescription. Farmacêutico is the pharmacist. Medicamento, the medicine or the medication. Antibiótico, very similar to English. Comprimidos, pills or tablets. Cápsulas, also very similar to English. Cápsulas, you have the accent on the A, so you have to stress cápsulas. Xarope, para a tosse, usually para a tosse. Xarope para a tosse for your cough. Supositório, sometimes. Pomada, an ointment or a cream. Gotas for your eyes, for example. Penso rápido, just a band-aid. So if you need a band-aid, you can go to the pharmacy and buy it. Then one thing, a structure that is very important for you to learn is this structure, de em. If it's, for example, de 8 em 8 horas, that means every 8 hours. So you have to take this pill every 8 hours. Or every 12 hours, de 12 em 12 horas. It's always like this. You even in other situations, if you say, I go to the cafe every every I don't know every 12 every 12 no let me think of
No, I
another
do that.
situation.
You can use that. I definitely go to a cafe every 12 hours.
No, but for example, no, even if I say every fortnight, for example, I go to the cafe every fortnight, I can say, in English, you say fortnight, you count the nights, we count the days. So for us, it's 15. So we say de 15 em 15
Ouch.
dias.
No,
De 15 em 15
really?
dias. Yes,
Oh,
because you say a fortnight, because you just count the nights, but we count the days. For us, the day is more important than the night. The night is just to sleep. So it's the 15 em 15 dias. So in every situation, for example, de 5 em 5 minutos, every 5 minutes. De 5 em 5 minutos.
right.
Every you know, every 2 weeks, de 2 em 2 semanas. So this is a very important structure for you to learn because it's every something.
And I'm
Okay.
glad I've learned how to say I've got a headache because I have now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, not
It
at
was
all. No, it's
because
not
of
your.
me.
It's not. No, well, not exactly. You're not to
I know
blame.
this can be painful. I know. I'm trying to be as fast as possible.
No,
Okay.
it's
So
absolutely fascinating and really.
exams. What can you have as an exam? Analysis. Usually the doctor just say analysis, but it's analysis ao sangue, your blood test. Or jejum. This is important, jejum, because sometimes you have to fast, right? And the fasting is very important if you do some blood tests. So if you are told, venha em jejum, you have to understand that jejum is no eating. So you can't drink, you can't eat nothing until you do the exam. Then you can also have, of course, análise à urina, electrocardiograma, very similar, ECG, electrocardiograma, echocardiograma, also similar to English, colonoscopia, sometimes, raio-x, if you break anything, X-ray, raio-x, the letter X, X, raio-x. TAC, we say TAC for what you call the CAT scan. So it's the same, but the other way around, because, you know, Portuguese and English is the other way around. So TAC and CAT, a CAT scan. Ressonância magnética, an MRI. Mammografia, espirometria. I do that because I have asthma, so sometimes I have to do that. And blow as as long as I can. So and halter 24, for example, a 24-hour halter. Okay, so this is it. I think.
Amazing. Amazing.
Okay, let
And as I
me.
said, it will be on a YouTube channel from Sunday afternoon, where I think people will want to review that very, well, vital information potentially there. So, Filomena,
Yeah.
thank you so much.